Hi, Jerry. Thanks for being here today. Can you tell us what it is and how you joined the club?
Yes, I had met Barbara in 1981. We got married, and I had had a boat previously and sold it, but in 1983 we bought a Newport 30 named Charity from Steve Gibson, who was a member of Southwestern Yacht Club, and then started sailing the boat. And 2 years later, Steve Gibson and Bill Dysart sponsored us into the club. So I've been a member since 1985. We raced Charity a lot. Steve Gibson had prepared the boat for racing in a very serious way. He had oversized sails, and she was a very good offshore sailing boat, a Newport 30. In the Newport Ensenada race, there were about 500 boats in that race, 2 starting lines. We finished second in our class of about 35 boats, and ended up with the award from Southwestern Yacht Club for the best finish of any Southwestern Yacht Club boat in that race, the Newport Ensenada race. When we got up that morning, after sailing all night down towards Ensenada, we looked around and all there were 40-foot boats around us. Yeah, one of the stories that I like to tell is when Barbara and I, with my daughter Kristen, were sailing back from Catalina to San Diego. We had the spinnaker up, I was sitting on the rail, and I fell overboard.
With the spinnaker up?
With the spinnaker up. And she, in about 3 steps, got the man overboard pole and buoy into me, and I swam into it. But the boat kept sailing away. She had to go get the sail down. She got the sail down. The boat was almost out of sight. Now I was comfortable. I was in the buoy, and it was summertime, so the water was warm. But for her, she had to get the sail down. She got spinnaker down, and then she was concerned about would some of the lines get caught in the prop. So she turned the boat around and started sailing it back towards me. Of course, she couldn't see me. Now I was miles away. And she called the Coast Guard and told them, and they said, okay, keep us informed. In the meantime, there was a boat coming from Catalina along our same route. They happened to be Southwestern Yacht Club members. They saw me and the buoy and came over and picked me up. A few minutes later, she got inside and sailed the boat. She never turned the engine on because she was concerned about the lines getting caught in the prop, but she sailed the boat up, and I got back on the boat with her and Kristen, and we put the sails back up and continued down to Southwestern Yacht Club. Being a member of Southwestern Yacht Club, one of the special things I remember is when in the early 90s we were the host club for the Louis Vuitton series. And I happened to be sail fleet captain at that time, and I was privileged to introduce Peter Blake from New Zealand to the audience. And that was just a special memory. Well, we had decided in the early 90s that we were wanted to go cruising, so we started looking for a boat. And I was visiting with Don and Ellen, Barbara and I were, and they told me they had been looking at a Cavalier 39 from New Zealand. And Barbara said, I love that boat. We saw it in the 1981 San Diego Boat Show, and let's go look at it. And we did, and we bought it, and that would be our cruising boat. And so then we started over the next 4 years getting the boat ready to go cruising.
Jerry and Barbara tested their cruising resolve as crew from Costa Rica to Panama. Is this going to change your lives?
Oh, yes.
It's confirming the change in our lives that we want to make.
Really?
In 1999, we had everything ready. We were living on the boat. People would come by and they said, when are you going to leave? It was the late winter of 1999, early spring of 1999. We said, well, whenever we're ready. And finally in March we were ready, and we left the yacht club to go south. And we were the only boat going down the coast of Baja California in March of that year.
That's late to be going south.
And we got down to Cabo San Lucas. We had 3 stops, and then we went from there about a 400-mile trip to Manzanillo and just relaxed. And from there on we cruised for 15 years. 3 years in Mexico and Central America, and the last 12 on the East Coast, going to the Bahamas for 6 to 8 months every winter.
And I see you're wearing your Bahamas shirt there.
Yeah, I have my Bahamas shirt on.
Good for you.
Well, thank you, Don.